Hello lovely dancers, my name is Aisha and welcome to Belly Dance Tutorials. Today we're gonna talk about another staple movement in belly dance, and we'll talk about the hip drops and its sibling hip drop kick, okay? I'll demonstrate it first, and so we're gonna work on this movement. Drop, 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 kick, drop, kick, drop, kick, drop, kick, drop, kick, drop, kick. All right? You've probably learned the movement in the first belly dance classes that you ever took, probably in the introduction to belly dance. But we're gonna work on this movement to make it a little better, a little bit more sophisticated, and let's get going. So first of all, let's break down the technique for the typical hip drop. So I'm gonna face forward for now, but typically this is a movement that you want to do in looking diagonal or even sideways to the public. But for now, we're gonna start facing front. First of all, remember the turnout of the legs, something that I'm very particular about with my students, they know it. So let's start with this, with a turnout of the legs first, to put our legs in a nice and correct position. The other thing is the feet are not so far apart. My left foot is not so far from the right foot. So we're talking maybe a foot in between distance. The other thing is that the supporting leg, the one in front, is either on the balls of the foot, like that, or pointing down. And also, as I'm maintaining my turnout in the legs, you don't see a lot of heel, right? So I don't want to see the heel sticking out, which breaks the line. I want to see a nice long line here. So for that, we have to maintain the turnout in both legs, but in particular the front one. Okay, but not to the point where we create a gap between the thighs. This cannot happen, okay? Our thighs are still a little bit pushed together, so we don't want to create this gap here. Okay, so that's about the legs and the feet, the position. Now remember the basic posture in belly dance. Our tailbone is slightly pulled down, yeah. So I don't want to have an arch here. I want to have the pelvis slightly tucked in, or the tailbone down, as we say in yoga. And then the other thing is the upper body, the rib cage, with the chest slightly lifted, upper body isolated, and arm position. We can do the typical L-shape arms. That's the most typical one. Yeah. We can pose with the arms like that, framing our hip. We could do like arms to head position, all the cute positions that you can think of. You can lift your hair up here. So just a few options, or even both arms raised in some cases. Okay. So now going back to the actual movement, now we know how to keep our legs, our feet, and our arms. The movement starts with a slight lift and then a drop. Slight lift and a drop. We don't want the movement, we want the movement to emphasize the downward movement of the hip and not the upward. So this is a hip lift, 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 but this is a hip drop. Drop, drop. Even though I'm lifting a little bit the hip area just to have more range, the accent or the emphasis of the movement is on the down, 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 down. Now, to take it up a notch, we can add some action on the back leg. So most of the time, you'll see people doing, and I do it a lot, with the back leg bent. So both knees are bent here, but the back leg, the standing leg, is in this bent position. Now, if you straighten the back leg, yeah, like that. So I make it straight here, bend, straight, bend, straight. That will add a little bit more sharpness and kick to your pelvic movement, and that is very nice when you have a drumming section that's a little bit more crisp and sharp. A lot of time we do this movement on Maxim rhythm, dum tek tek dum tek dum tek tek dum tek, and when you have sharp drums in the background, you can definitely use the straightening of the back leg to add more sharpness to your hips, so it will match the music better. So let's try adding the straightening of the back leg, and I'll actually play some music here. Okay. Okay. So let's check the position, the turnout, ball on the foot, or even pointing the front leg. Let's remember, let's check the back leg. Okay. Arms here. So we will do a drop, 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 and a little faster. Different arm positions. All right. And adding the kick, we do a drop, kick, drop, kick, drop, kick. So when I kick the foot forward, I continue doing the drop, so the drops don't stop. So the first drop, and on the second drop when I do the kick, the hips still go down, okay? So drop, 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 drop kick, drop, drop kick. Adding the back leg. All right. Now let's add some more to this. Okay, so the next part that we can add to this movement to make it even more sophisticated and professional is to add a ribcage contraction. When we add a ribcage contraction, we create more narrowing in the hip, in the side area, and that's what we are looking for, actually. So we increase the depth and the range of the movement just by adding this slight contraction of the ribcage. So if I'm facing you now, you'll see this is a hip drop without ribcage, and when I'm adding the ribcage, it's gonna look a little deeper. Yeah, I'm making this space smaller, and I'm making the movement more visible from the back of the room. So if you are dancing on a stage or in a club or at a party even, people from the back of the room have to be able to see the movement and not just guess it. All right? So let's try. I'll actually turn on the other side for now. So let's try to add a hip drop, back leg, yeah, and also the rib cage. This is tricky now. Okay, so drop, 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 drop and kick, drop and kick, drop and kick, drop and kick, drop and kick. And ribcage too. Yeah. If I'm turning my face to you, see how narrow this part becomes? That's what we're looking for. Kick, drop, and kick. All right, let's do it with music. We'll practice it with music for a little bit. And I'll add some more explanations. Okay? Get the hips going. Get the back leg going. And get the rib cage. Okay? All right. Now let's talk about a few things here. Even though it looks like I'm moving the ribcage a lot, it's still an isolated move. I don't want the movement to get out of control and be like something like that. No, I don't want that. I want the movement to stay in the lower ribcage area. It doesn't look that I'm moving my upper body, although I do contract this part a lot. And I actually do this so often, probably every time I do hip drops, that I don't even realize that I'm doing it. And I probably cannot even do it without that. So, so make sure that your upper body movement is still isolated and it's not getting out of control here. Yeah. Also, the same goes for the lower body. We don't want the lower body movement to be out of control as well. So we don't want something like that to happen. Yeah, when everything is moving. So keep that in mind. Also, one last thing to remember is to point your toes, okay? So once you do the kick here, I want you to point your toes and not let the foot be something like that. Doesn't look pretty. All right, so let's drill it for a little bit on music, putting all of this together. So yeah, let's try to have some fun with this. Okay, I'll play the music. Okay. Turn out of the legs, arms, point the toe, get a hip drop, get the back leg, and do the little crunch here. So add the rib cage contraction. All right, other way. You can add some arm movements back and forth like this from the elbow. Just don't go crazy with the arms. All right. One last time. Get the hips, get the leg, get the crunch here. All right, I'm gonna stop the music. All right. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please don't forget to click on the like button and subscribe to my channel for more tutorials like this. If you have any particular topic in mind, let me know in the comments and I'll try to address it. And I'll see you next time. Shimmy, shimmy.